Hi, I'm Lucas Mack. I'm a former TV reporter, a published author, TEDx speaker, musician, advertising agency owner, and management consultant. I'm also a former Christian preacher who dedicated 15 years of my life searching for truth and love. I've done a lot of work to heal, and I'm on a mission to see the hurting get healed and the healed go out and heal others, in order for all of us to experience the true love and light we desire. This podcast is me sharing my journey with you, so you don't feel alone in your journey. Welcome to the Golden Rule Revolution. Hello, brothers and sisters. Welcome back to another episode of the Golden Rule Revolution. I am Lucas Mack, and it is such a pleasure to have you join me on this journey today. I'm really excited about today's episode because my brother Lawrence from Spiritual Oneness on Instagram is back for another episode. And today's episode is about surviving to thriving in changing times. Surviving to thriving in changing times. What does that mean? Well, one of my favorite types of shows are survival shows. I could watch Dual Survival, the Bear Grylls show, Survivor Man, all these. I watch so many shows even on YouTube of these people building primitive structures to live in, how they've been doing it for years, for centuries, for thousands of years. And I think one of the things that draws me to these types of shows is the intellect, the sovereignty, the knowledge and the ability of mankind. It's truly incredible. Well, what we learned in 2020 with the supply chain getting disrupted with Purell, with toilet paper, and people buying and starting to hoard certain things, it caused panic in those who weren't prepared as well. And today's episode is a reminder, hopefully educational, and very helpful of things that you can do practically right now so that if something does happen again where things get disrupted, you are prepared. You have the ability to get food, water, and take care of yourself and your family and loved ones. Today's show is about sovereignty, even though we're going to be talking about how to prepare in changing times. So I'm excited about this episode. I'm excited that Lawrence is back, and I hope each and every one of you enjoy. So as I said, my favorite shows all time, I could binge watch more than any Netflix series has ever been created. I could binge watch survival shows, and I love, I have a calling. They call to me. I don't know why, but they call to me. And I'm excited to bring back my brother Lawrence from Spiritual Oneness on Instagram to talk about some very important topics of being prepared and not relying on what you've relied on in the past, but actually relying on yourself to take care of yourself. So, brother, welcome back to the podcast, and thanks for coming on.
Thank you, my West Coast brother. It's good to see you again, and good to connect in this way.
What the world is completely diverging itself of its past. Everything's shifting. And one of the things that I love talking with you about is just being prepared, and what does being prepared look like, and why is this societal? It's the same people that call people in the political arena that question people in power conspiracy theorists. They are the same people that will quickly throw other people who prepare for the worst preppers or this, they have these names, but really all it is being sovereign and questioning everything and preparing for everything and being self-reliant. So all that to say, what, how do we even start on this? How did you get into thinking this way?
Well, just to comment on your comments about conspiracy, to me, conspiracy is the action of conspiring to tell the truth. And often people do not
Hmm.
want the truth to be known for one reason or another. Usually it's a selfish reason, or it's a power reason, or a control reason. But we are moving ahead in a time where truth is more readily available than any other time. We're moving out of the fear and the hate and the selfish and the serving of or to the self, and we're moving towards the love and the light and the community and serving one another. So as we move in and towards that, we have to let go of some things. And this idea of stasis or remaining stagnant and feeling comfortable in where we are. I think it's important to prepare for anything. In answer to your question, how long have I been in this mode? For me, it's been about 15 years. I came across some information at that time that really changed my life and the direction of things for me, and really helped to line my path with curiosity and preparation for the future of what's to come. Because essentially and eventually, the life that we live will change forever. We will no longer be living this lifestyle of comfort and convenience. And I think even deep down, subconsciously, people are realizing that. Even if they don't acknowledge it, I think there's a subconscious realization somehow.
As you were talking, a couple things came to mind. I think it's important to point out for people. So I in addition to being drawn, me personally, to survival shows, and I mean, not kidding you, they're some of the best. They don't talk. They're just these YouTube videos where they're 30, 40 minutes long, and these people will build shelters, and it's all based on natural sound. So you hear the wood, you hear these elaborate structures, and I'm blown away at how someone even knows how to do this. And I feel so connected to humanity watching this, because this is humanity. Humanity is not sitting at a desk coding on a computer. Humanity is knowing how to brace two beams together with a hatchet and make a structure that will last to take care of a family and build. And I'm just in love. It's really the full disclosure, everyone, I'm in love with these survival shows, and my wife, we'll watch. I used to love Dual Survival. I forget what show that or channel that was on, but I've just been in love with it. The other thing I've always been drawn to, and as equal my love for survival shows and primal adventure shows, is ancient civilizations. Globekli, I don't even know how to say it, Globekli Tekli or whatever in Turkey that they found is probably ancient Babylon or Babel, the Tower of Babel that they just disclosed. I love Graham Hancock and all this, the old earth, Egypt, Atlantis, Mayans, these cultures, even in Japan, all these pyramids found under the water right now in the ocean, that who built them? How did they have the technology? All these incredible things. And I tie these two together in that humanity has always advanced in technology, and some shift takes place where it resets humanity to come back to the most basic knowing of humanity, which is self-containment, self-reliance. And I think it's a humbling. I think what happens is humanity, when we get to the stage where we become so lofty, the old, I look what I have done. And then a hurricane comes through and wipes everyone out. And I was like, oh, I'm not as powerful as I thought. It humbles us. And that's why I'm so fascinated with ancient civilizations and these survival shows, because I feel like they go hand in hand. And I do feel that whether it's the actual weather or something more universal, something greater,
Yeah.
there is a shift coming.
Yeah.
Humanity cannot continue to go down this path and think that it's always going to stay the same. So anyway, I just bring all that up is one other thing I want to share, and then I'll let you go. This Rome is the enemy of the people, and Rome created the narrative of the new earth. So Rome says that the earth is only 6,000 years old, and that Genesis, from Genesis to today, is a literal time from Adam to today is 6,000 years old. Adam being created in Genesis chapter 2, therefore the second chapter of Genesis leads us to today. But what they don't tell the public, what they don't tell the people, is the word "and" is a conjunction of time. So in Genesis, I remember one day I was fasting, and I heard like a lightning rod went into me and went, whoom. There's a time gap between Genesis 1:1 and 1:2. And I was like, what? I mean, I have chills right now. It was so intense. And it was not even like, well, I think this. I knew there was a time gap between Genesis 1:1 and 1:2. So I go back and I look. And that's when I was told, and is a conjunction of time. So it says, in the beginning, God created the heaven and the earth. And then Genesis 1:2 says, and the earth was without form and void, and darkness was upon the face of the deep, and the Spirit of God moved upon the face of the waters. That's just 2 verses of the first Bible. So how much time between 1:1 and 1:2? And I looked at 1:2 as the earth was flooded. There was a flood. The whole premise of the earth story is something happened on the earth that flooded the earth. Noah's flood would be the third flood if we wanted to get into all these things, but the earth shifts and it changes and it moves. And out of this shifting and changing, there's always a regeneration. There's always a renewal. It's the seasons only on the grander scale. And so the earth is very old. Ancient civilizations have existed. Humans have been on this planet for longer than we even can fathom. And they've always had the skill sets to survive and take care of themselves. So I lead all that to say, I just had to tile that in, is here we are today at another, I think, precipice of humans needing to learn these skill sets.
I would 100% agree. I love the word precipice because that is exactly where we are at. We are at the precipice of great change and reset, which happens about every 3,650 years or so. There's more detail I can offer into that at some point later on. But even the mainstream is addressing, even more so than YouTube videos, this idea of survival and preparation, with the basics on building a lean-to or how to build a fire. Mainstream television and programming is offering these shows that speak to people in a greater general sense of understanding of what it is to prepare and what it means. I mean, let's simply look at the idea of how unprepared we were as a whole for the supply of toilet paper. What did that mean in this world when people realized that a very basic necessity was suddenly gone? And what were people going to do? So I think it's important to be prepared on all levels at all times, but not from the standpoint of fear,
right?
But from the standpoint of love for the self, for family, for humanity, for the universe, what is it that we need to look at and address so that we can prepare for the future of things? Because we are moving into tremendous change, more than people will ever imagine. It will be a time of complete unbelievability and shock to most people. It's about stepping out of comfort, or the way we understand and experience comfort at present, and being prepared for the inevitability of change as it presents itself in the future. Whatever that looks like, I can offer more detail with that, or if people are interested. But now is the time. You know, in my 10th grade typing class, we had to type this sentence over and over again to learn the letters or the keys on the typing keyboard. And that sentence was, now is the time for all good men to come to the aid of the party. And you know, in one way, all of those letters encompass everything en masse to learn how to type, but it also rang something true for me where, and I've lived with this sentence ringing true in my head this whole time since the 10th grade, which is a few more decades ago than I would like to admit. But we are now at a time when all good men must come to the aid of the party. This is the time to prepare for change like you've never experienced it before. Look at the last 6 months. Were people ever expecting such great change the way it unfolded? Would they have ever been able to anticipate the description of change that was delivered to us? And it's still unfolding. You know, as the election approaches, we're going to have another great chapter of change. And then the 6 months after that, you know, we are headed in a great time of prosperity and abundance in so many ways. You know, we have to let go of some things in order to receive. And so as we move forward, we might have to let go of some of the things that we're comfortable with in order to receive some of the new understandings that are being delivered to us. So in our hearts and in our souls, I think we feel this. I think it resonates, even if people can't speak to it publicly or understand it in coffee communication. But I think in moments like this, where a podcast can hopefully speak to and resonate with people on a greater global level, even if details are not given at this time, I think that's most important, that we simply allow ourselves the opportunities to change and move forward into the preparation of the future.
It's so important. A couple things that popped up for me as you're sharing that. I worked in a grocery store. It was my very first job ever. I was 16 years old, and I cleaned the meat department of a grocery store. They called me the meat boy because I would have pieces of meat. I had a pressure washer, and I would blow. It was gnarly. It was the gnarliest job. But I learned grocery stores, and I worked in grocery stores for a long time because I paid my way through college, and I knew then, but I've forgotten that grocery stores only have 3 days food supply max. And in the supply chain, we are so dependent in this world on the supply chain. If God forbid anything ever stopped the supply chain, that's when things really get hairy quickly, very quickly. Yes, that's a great word. Thanks. I'm like, what do I want to say? And so I knew that because we're always stocking up, or, you know, facing making sure all the items line up perfectly across the rows when people come in the morning down the aisles. And, but it was here in Seattle, there was an ice storm, I think in 2010, up here, that was so bad. It snowed, and then the ice set in that trucks couldn't get to grocery stores, and the ice there was massive power outages. So this Trader Joe's that we always would shop at not only lost power, the trucks couldn't get in. And so all the perishable food, all the frozen foods, everything's spoiled. And when they finally opened back up and they threw all that food away, I walked in and it was a bizarre feeling. It was very eerie. It was like, what? They didn't have any perishable food. They just had, the dry goods. And something just, I remembered, it's only 3 days supply. And that's of dried goods. And that was it. I had been prepared ever since. And that was in 2000 and I guess 10 or 2011, one of those years. And I am a firm believer in food supply, ability to start fire, ability to purify water, ability to contain water, ability to have shelter. And it's like you said, it's so fascinating. It's easy to buy toilet paper right now. But the minute it's not easy to buy toilet paper, everyone's like, why didn't I buy toilet paper?
Exactly.
It's easy to buy Theraflu or whatever people use for their, colds right now. But the minute there's a run on it, everyone's going to be like, why didn't I do that? So, yeah.
It's important. I think people are more aware now these days and are a little bit more conscious. I mean, it's quite obvious that Mother Earth is going through great changes with weather patterns. I think we're seeing a lot of weather disturbances, speaking of ice storms and preparation for things like that. Whether it be earthquakes or flooding or the massive fires, especially you guys are experiencing or have experienced on the West Coast recently. But that's been happening all over the world in the last while. I experienced a great loss through a massive wildfire myself 4 years ago. So none of us are being spared. These great earth changes itself can and will disrupt what we have come to expect as the abundance that presents itself when we walk into the grocery store. That will not always be. I think the smart person will have a couple of weeks supply of food for them and or for them and their family. The basics, the water, things that will not spoil, things that they can hold over in their pantry for a while, whether it's from a simple ice storm, a snowstorm, or a lengthy power outage for whatever reason. Mm-hmm. It's imperative to be aware that we must be prepared now and for what is to come. This beautiful Mother Earth that we live on has provided us with a very stable, grounded way of living for so many decades in the past and in a couple of centuries now in the civilization that we participate in. But as we see, that's changing. So we must adapt to the changes and we must be prepared for the changes that are coming, especially if you have a family to look after. We can't always rely on outside services. What if those outside services are not available? What if governments and policing systems are not available because they have to take care of their families? What if what we have come to know as security is removed? Mm-hmm. What if there is no longer that secure sense? What do we do? So I think it's important to be aware, to be conscious to the possibility of any change at any time. We're living in a most tremendous, wonderful, magical time right now. Everything, the chapters are changing so quickly. And in order to thrive, not just survive, but to thrive within that change, preparation is key.
Yeah. It's like there's just some simple items I would recommend people buy, like a what is iron cast stove and an iron cast skillet. Those are just two simple things that people could buy right now that can be used. If you have electricity, awesome. And if you don't, and you need to have a fire and cook on something, that's a great surface. Also, I was watching this video from Expanded Consciousness, or one of the great Instagram accounts, Connecting Consciousness, something consciousness, but he was talking about these skillets, these non-stick skillets, and how much toxins come from these surfaces and cooking. And it woke me up, and I've stopped. I would say 99% of my cooking now has been on iron cast pans or whatever. So yeah, just simple things like that. What are some other items that you think are good to have in the home in case anything?
Well, we live in a very high-tech age right now, so we have the availability of all solar access if you choose it, from the most simple to the most complex. Mother Nature provides energy in all different kinds of ways, and the sun can provide the solar energy that you might need in times where there is no electric. Solar panels, solar generators, solar cookers, batteries, but batteries don't last a long time. That's temporary tech. Anything that provides you with feeling like you are a couple of steps ahead. You're ahead of the curve so that you feel comfort in the discomfort. Even something like a water distiller, perhaps a water filter may not decontaminate as you need. Distilling water takes care of everything. I would highly recommend a distiller. The iron skillets are an amazing opportunity to cook healthfully. Yeah. Iron stoves, even the basic fireplace that you might have in your home can provide warmth, but also the opportunity to prepare foods. Speaking of high tech, there is more so now than ever the availability of freeze-dried foods. Excuse me. Having a couple of weeks to a couple months supply of freeze-dried foods in case there is not the FEMA availability of supply, or government supply, or neighborly supply. It can possibly get ugly for a period of time before it gets better. So I think it's important to be aware of the tools, the survival tools that we have readily available to us by simply doing a Google search. Everything is available if you need it. It's all out there.
Yeah. Also, part of preparing for the physical is also preparing the spiritual side as well. And that just, there's a verse in Psalms that David wrote, and I've thought about it a lot recently. It popped into my mind while I was out for a walk, and it said, "Thy word have I hid in my heart, that I might not sin against thee." And sin, when Rome uses the word sin, they use it as right or wrong, good or bad, judgment and shame. But sin just means miss the mark. And what is the mark? The mark is love. The mark is to walk in love. That we love one another, that we receive love, we give love, that we are love, that us as reflections of the divine light to the world, just walk in that love. So sin means to miss the mark. So David saying, thy word, if I hid in my heart, that I might not miss the mark, that I may walk in love. And perfect love casts out fear. There's no fear when we're in love. There's no worry when we're in love. There's no anxiety when we're in love. And when I was walking the other day and that came back into me, it was almost like, okay, you've done this, but it's time to really step up and be serious about your spiritual preparation right now, because You know, when I lead these men's retreats, I talk to guys that are single. I said, you guys are like on a chin-up bar right now, that you're single, you're feeling good, you're strong, you're working out, you're doing the inner work right now. Congratulations. As soon as you get in partnership with someone, they hop on your back, and then all of a sudden you're hanging from that bar and you're like, why am I feeling like this? This isn't how I used to be. And I said, you're still the same strength, but
Yeah,
now your strength gets to increase with that other on your back, to both of you get back to that top.
yeah.
And yeah, so cute. And so the spiritual preparation is very important right now, to because when something does happen, I think a lot of people are going to be hanging back down on that bar asking
Yeah.
what the heck happened. So to know that that's coming, to also have the tools. So what are some spiritual preparations that people can be doing right now to?
So I think in observation of things, I think any most individuals can see that there's a division or a polarization taking place, where there are those who are either moving away from love
Hmm.
into the dark or to the fear. They're relying on that. Or the other direction is in the direction of love and light and the strength that that provides. This is not about religion. This is about spirituality and the essence of your higher self and your soul, um, and the vibration of who you are, the love vibration of who you are.
Hmm.
I think it's important to seek like-minded individuals of like mind and like heart. Feel and sense from your heart the direction that you might want to take.
Hmm.
Move in the direction and uh, clan yourself with or group yourself with those who are of like heart and like mind. It's important as we move into the future, because there will be even a greater polarization taking place as we move into the change of things. And as I speak of all of these things, I can make available to anyone greater detail that they may seek to have a greater understanding of what we're speaking about here. But it is, it's almost like a spiritual reconciliation or recognition of why we have all come here. I have come to understand that we pretty much have all waited in line to be here at this time.
Hmm.
And our paths that we walk are being honored by the universe in such a divine and loving way, more than we will ever understand. This everything that we are going to experience, we have chosen, spiritually speaking. Every experience in life is not delivered to us or to happen to us, it happens for us. So even in this great time of change, it's happening for us. It's an opportunity to learn about our strength and our love and the ability to serve one another in a time of great need as it arises. I think it's important to realize that the illusion of fear does not have a grip. Only the power of love is the glue that holds it all together.
Yeah.
And no matter of um, disruption or chaos can interfere with that unless we choose to allow it. It's the brilliance of light that we are, the beautiful light beings that we are, the love that we are, may be diminished at times, but it can never be extinguished.
Hmm.
So it's important to realize we have all the light and love and power, strength and tools that we have within us to help prepare for anything that lies before us. We can do it.
Yeah.
I believe in the power of love in every way.
Mm.
Love does not go away. Love simply is, and within that love lies great strength. So moving forward into this new world that is opening, that is referred to as the 5D world, the new earth
Yeah.
that is fast approaching as we leave the 3D or the three-dimensional, this heavy, dense experience that's laden with fear,
Yeah.
the illusion of fear, and as we move forward into what is real love.
Mm.
Important to keep that in your heart, to live from an open heart, to feel, to experience, to think, to vibrate. Your resonance is a natural love vibration. Keep
Mm.
true to that. That's the most important thing through any of this.
So good and true. And I was thinking, I must have dreamt this. I just remembered while you're talking, Donald Trump has been the greatest gift to humanity. And why he's been the greatest gift for many reasons, but what I think I was dreaming this or something. He has brought to the surface everything that resides in man's heart.
Yes.
There is nothing hidden anymore. If you have hate in your heart, he has showed you have hate in your heart. If you have fear in your heart, he has showed you have fear in your heart. If you have love in your heart, he has been the greatest mirror. And sadly, I think people in fear look as life as a window, and people in love look at life as a mirror.
That's a great way to look at it. You know, Mr. Trump, regardless of the presidential stature that he holds,
Right.
is truly a divine gift. You know, there are people in this world that arrive within divine timing to help cleanse and prepare and show us the direction, show us the way. And this man, uh, this this president known as President Trump, only works in love. He does not work out of fear whatsoever. So regardless of what anyone says, what any media may deliver as an untruth, whatever misconceptions are out there about this powerful individual helping us march through this chaotic time. The truth is, Mr. Trump and the energy that he brings to this time right now is a very powerful cleansing deliverance of love and divine energy, helping us to get through and to see more about who we are, like you mentioned, as in the mirror.
Yeah.
Those who fall to the wayside and choose to see through or experience things through fear have a different relative reality to this, and those are the ones that will eventually, spiritually speaking, see the truth in all of it.
Mm.
President Trump is here for a reason. I believe with all my heart that he will win the election to continue to do what he has come here to do and to lead us through these great changes that are coming. Well, more than coming, they've already happened, but even greater changes are coming.
Yes.
He is for the people. He wants the power back to the people, regardless of any misconception in the past.
Yeah.
He has had to appear a certain way in order to do things by the book.
Mm-hmm.
He wants this to play out in the best way possible. He is very selfless in his manner, and what he is doing is greatly divine, more than I can ever express. I have tremendous gratitude in my heart for this human being, more than the presidential status that he holds or any other titles that he may have. He's doing great things. And if people could let go of fear for a moment to actually see what he has accomplished already, they'd be in a far better place.
I grew up in a household where people perceived my house as perfect because the right words were said, the right cadence, the right smiles, the right questions, the right charming, all this. Everyone thought it was perfect. Everyone. Now, me and my brother were scared. We had to keep this pretense up, or life inside would be. I mean, it was already hell. I mean, I got chased. I just want to share this. I bought a V for Vendetta mask on, and I have not been in costume since I can remember, maybe a kid. But I bought a V for Vendetta mask and I put it on, and I used to get chased in the house and beat while my dad was wearing a mask. He would put this crazy looking mask on, and it reminded me of that. The house inside was anything but the house outside perceived. And I look at what this is happening in the media and cadence and people trained on teleprompter and can read, and the suave and the smiles and the charm. And if you look at them, they all have kind of that squared face, crow's eyed smile with the veneered teeth, and they know what they're doing. And they have created this world of style over substance.
Yeah.
And I can give a shit how someone sounds, talks, looks. I want people that are in the foxholes, stand in the trenches, that won't run in the battle, that will stand for truth. Truth. I care. This is one thing I talk a lot about love. I love. That's why I feel like I'm here on this earth to deliver this message of unconditional and infinite love.
Yes.
But love only allows truth to come forth. So it's actually that truth can come out. Truth above all things. And when truth comes out, we are free. We're no longer gaslit. There's no longer, who cares the style, cadence, and suave. What is the result? Someone say, oh, God bless you, or, oh, that's it. It's all this swap, but the results are destruction in the wake. Well, then who cares what is said? And that's how I feel like we've lived, Republican and Democrat. This is not, we have been gaslit by narcissists for so long that the narcissist called the non-narcissist a narcissist. And because we're so gaslit, but a narcissist doesn't like their reputation tainted. That's the one thing. A narcissist will do anything to protect their reputation. They don't go into the trenches. They leave the trenches. They send other people into the trenches. And that's where Trump, the fact that people hate him, they call him stupid. I'm like, dude, I will never align with you if you're based in hate. You're based in fear. You're not on my team. I don't care if you're on his team. You're not on my team. My team loves all people, even you. But just know you have chosen not to be on my team. My team is to love all people, to Republican and Democrat, conservative. And as I'm sharing this, there are bad people. There are evil people in there are white supremacists. They're not white supremacists. That's a misnomer. There's racist humans on this planet that have so much hate, so
Yeah.
much wounding, so much anger that anything that looks not like them, they hate it because they only find solace in this hatred of their own existence. Um, yeah, those people exist,
Yes.
but we don't project onto others one person's or many people. I mean, what am I saying is, I'm not denying that there's bad people. There are bad people, but we got to give those people an opportunity to heal. This is, I think, what it is. In
Yeah.
love, we don't indict. In love, we give opportunity, but also in love, we hold to account bad behavior. We hold to account injustice. We hold to account um, things that are not healthy for people. I don't know if does this make sense. I
Yeah,
don't
it
even
sure
know where
does.
I'm going. My team is stand for love of all people. I love humanity, the beauty of humanity, the sovereignty of humanity. We can't hate one. If you hate one, you hate all. That's how I feel. That's really how I feel.
No division. We
Right.
are all one in the oneness. Only the love is real. The illusion of fear does not exist unless you give power to it. I want people to realize things are not as they appear, especially in the political arena. There is a what I will refer to as Prozac stance that's being delivered to the people. This whole idea of perfection that you're speaking of. There's a the opposition to Trump is in this Prozac stance. They appear to be a certain way. They appear to be acting a certain way. But I want people to realize it is a self-serving purpose that will not proliferate or progress. Um, I want people to understand that as we move forward into the Nasera and Jasera of things, the prosperity and abundance of things, that what is coming, what is being done now in preparation for what is coming is to help the people, not to hinder them from Trump's side of things. From the other side of things, that would not be the case.
Hmm.
So it's important to uh, be patient, allow for the process, allow for the divine timing, remain in the love frequency. It's very easy to judge what appears to be an evil person or a bad person and all the labels that they are given. Um, it's important to realize that there are many different soul levels of experience and path that people come to this world to experience. So if it appears that someone is evil or bad or satanistic or pedophilia in any way, um, whatever term is being given to that person, realize that they have chosen that path to learn the lessons of those experiences so that they themselves can expand out of hate and fear and return to love, the home of love, the true essence of who they are. So every person experiences reality in their own relative perception of things. The greater whole is the connectedness of oneness. There is no division outside of that, regardless of the misconceptions or the illusions of things.
Hmm.
So as we move forward, I urge people to remain living with an open heart and uh, realize that love is the strength that keeps it all together, regardless of any division that appears or separateness that occurs. That's all temporary.
Yeah.
Love is permanent.
Hmm. And part of love is being prepared, doing the
Being
work.
prepared.
Yeah.
Being prepared out of love and for love,
hmm.
not out of the illusion of fear. As human beings, fear is a natural experience or expression, emotional expression. I'm not, uh, I don't want to say that we can't give value to fear. Sometimes fear is the uh, ignition to move us forward towards the love. Sometimes it's the engine that keeps us moving forward, if only temporarily realizing that it is the illusion and that we can choose to move forward out of that and be authentic in the true light and love beings that we are. That's where our real resonance occurs. That's where our real vibration exists. That's where everything is whole and loving. Anything outside of that is the opposite of that.
That's beautiful and true and good. Oh, it's good. It's good. I'm so glad he came back and doing
I'm
another
always glad to
episode.
come back. I greatly appreciate the opportunity to communicate what is needed and what is essential, especially in these times. I want people to know that they can contact me if they want further details on the things that we have spoken about today. I have vast amounts of information to offer any individual who is interested in discovering more universal truth of things, especially in what is to come. Lucas mentioned can be contacted via my Instagram account at spiritual.oneness. I also am available on Telegram at that very same profile name minus the period. So it is simply spiritual oneness. For those who seek to have a more personal communication, I can also provide my email, but Telegram is preferred, and then Instagram.
Awesome. And I'll put those in the show notes so people can have those. And thank you, brother, for coming back on. This is awesome.
Thank you for having me. I'm very grateful. It's great to see you. It's great to connect. Everything is going to work out.
Yes.
We're moving in a much better direction.
Yes.
And love is the answer.
Thank you so much for listening. Blessings to each and every one of you. I love all of you. Thank you. Thank you for coming on this journey. Whatever you think about what we just went through, I would implore you to go on Amazon and make a purchase of some supplies today, some food, some if you want to go to the fullest extreme, some heirloom seeds, but definitely some food and ability to drink clean water. Why not? Why not? We don't have to rely on these supply chains to take care of our sovereignty. When we step into our sovereignty, we can take care of ourselves. So this is a gentle nudge. This is a reminder that you are a sovereign, sentient, beautiful, glorious being who gets to walk in love and light. And when the world around you starts to change and shift, you can stand in your own power and come from that place of love to love yourself and your closest loved ones around you, but also help those in need. It's going to be a beautiful time. The 5D earth that we're walking into is going to be glorious. And I bless each and every one of you with the highest love and the highest good. Continue to walk in the light, brothers and sisters. Everything's going to be okay. I am Lucas Mack. This is the Golden Rule Revolution, and I bless each and every one of you. I'll talk to you on the next episode. Thank you, brothers and sisters, for listening. For support in your journey, go to my website, lucasmack.com.